Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that actually knows how the sausage gets made. And you can too if you watch our sister channel, Food Theory. Speaking of, if you haven't watched Food Theory, check it out. Apparently it's Markiplier approved.
I've been watching your food theory stuff. I haven't actually been watching too much Game Theory. I didn't watch it, unfortunately. Again, only Food Theory.
Over the past several months, if there's been one thing that I've seen requested constantly in the comments, on the subreddit, and on Twitter, it's more FNAF. To which I say, why? How? What do you expect? But if there are two requests that I see constantly, it's one, more FNAF, and two, to solve the horrific mysteries that are happening over at Happy Meat Farms. Not to be confused with Happy Humble's Burger Barn, completely separate thing. Just a lot of joyful beef products dominating the indie horror space these days. Couldn't tell you why, but hey, as long as it's not killer animatronics or haunted toys, I am all about it, friends. Anyway, for those of you who don't know, Happy Meat Farms is a video series currently being uploaded onto the YouTube channel This Place Is Not Happy. When I saw so many requests coming in from you guys, I knew I had to check it out. But when I went to the channel, there were only 3 videos. It's not a whole lot to work with, or so I thought. Watching them, it immediately becomes clear that this is far from a nothing burger. 3 short videos quickly spiral out into a very complex, very expansive ARG filled with juicy lore, all about a meat manufacturing company engaging in some very unsavory practices. Let's just say cruelty-free, this is not. But the most interesting part of all is that this one isn't finished. The ARG surrounding this evil corporation still has presumably one more video left to release. It's been a good few months since the last video, so it's unclear when we're likely to see it, but I figured now's as good of a time as any to dive into the mystery, because I believe with what we already have, I can tell you what Happy Meat Farms is up to and what the missing video is gonna reveal. Ladies and gentlemen, the stakes and the stakes have never been higher. A side note, did we get a HelloFresh sponsorship for this one or not? Because it feels like a slam dunk. No? Okay, can we reach out to someone? Maybe like, I don't know, the Meat Packers of America? I'm very good at packing meat. You know what? Never mind. Strike that, I said that one. No. Also, before we get things started here, because this is an ongoing ARG, I want to bring up the 5 rules of solving these sorts of puzzles that we've talked about in previous videos. Don't want to have to resort to me uploading a video that looks like this again. Woo, boy, that was not a fun series of days for me. So anyway, long story short, without any further ado, I present to you what I call the 5 Ps of ARGs. With all that out of the way, it's time to get to the meat of the theory. It's the same steak from earlier. Yeah, I get that I've reused the joke already, but we bought these beautiful steaks and I didn't want them to go to waste. It's like a $20 cut of steak for like a 1-sentence joke. Yeah, meat transition. Things start out with a warning message that lets us know that only authorized Happy Meat Farm R&D personnel are allowed to view the video. It also asks that the parties who view the video sign a non-disclosure agreement. So, since I don't want any of us to get into any legal trouble here, on screen is a totally real and not at all dubious NDA that's gonna keep us all protected. All you need to do to accept the terms and conditions is to write down in the comments, I accept. If there's anything that you see that's disagreeable in there, write sussy bussy. No need to read it closely though, you can absolutely trust us. This is absolutely how real life contracts work. Y'all signed in the comments? Great, let's begin. The video shows us 3 rounds of genetic treatment testing. Each experiment lets us see the subject name, animal type, age, sex, status, and recommendation for the next step. Special shout outs to the cow test subject here, which is codenamed M00. You get it? You get it? It's a cow, moo, top shelf internet humor right there. In the first 2 rounds of testing, we see that things aren't going so well. After treatment, the test subjects have developed large tumors and eyes on parts of their body that probably shouldn't have eyes. Others have mutated to such an extreme degree that they outright blur the photo entirely because, quote, looking at it causes extreme discomfort. Thank you, Happy Meat Farm, for your thoughtfulness and foresight. Except, you know, there's just one problem with that move. The last frame the image is on screen, the blur filter disappears. While most subjects are either kept for further study or outright killed, 2 develop extreme growth and are then sent to HR. Not exactly sure what human resources are going to be doing with a gross lump of mutant chicken, but clearly this is heading in the direction that they want. And when the final animal, M0101, escapes the facility, the whole thing's declared a success and Happy Meat Farm moves on to begin human trials. But hold on, there's something else here. Something in that legalese that appears at the very beginning of the video. If you bother to read the entire disclaimer, as I'm I'm sure you always do in any agreement that you go into, including the contract that we just signed on the channel a few minutes ago, you'll see at the very bottom, for more information, go to happymeatfarms.com. And you know what? Yeah, I would like some more information, please. So let's head on over, and it's a very normal, very corporate-y looking website. Squarespace did you well, my friends. You got everything you need. Your list of products and services, your company history, your glitching welcome video with hidden text. Hold on a minute, that's not something that you usually find on a corporate website. And if that one didn't tip you off, the copyright will. 2023, huh? It's copyrighted from the future? There's even an employee portal that can only be accessed with an employee's unique Happy Meat Farms ID, which you know we're eventually gonna have to hack into. Let's start off with that glitching video on the homepage, shall we? If you pay close attention to the video, you're gonna start to notice something odd. The transitions are inconsistent. Throughout the vast majority of the video, they use slow, gentle crossfades to complement the sweeping beauty shots of their pastures. But every once in a while, you have a transition that goes like this. A hard cut to the next scene, and therein lies our key. This ain't my first rodeo here, cowpokes. There's a place to hide single frame Easter eggs. It's during hard cuts like that. That one frame between hard cuts tends to be overlooked by someone who's just casually watching. In fact, the Happy Meat Farm welcome video has 4 of these single frame moments, some of which might look familiar. There are little experimental monstrosities from the first video, P0113, C0174, and our good friend Moo. But one of these things is not like the other. At 24 seconds into the video, there's a single frame with the code ZX159G. And if we happen to put this into the password prompt for the Happy Meat Farm employee portal, it opens up. We are behind the curtain, friends.
Okay. Use it. I'm gonna use it.
Make sure it's right.
Let's find out.
Open that file.
I like that.
Or we will be in a second, because I'm not done with this welcome video yet. Well, the hard cuts are certainly the most obvious secret thing in here. They're only hiding an even bigger piece of the puzzle. That's right, friendos. Happy Meat Farms is using secrets to distract you away from the other, more hidden secrets. It's a pretty clever move, I gotta say. You see, at 44 seconds into the video, if you happen to be watching in full screen, which, why would you be, but sure, there's a bunch of random letters that are nearly blending in with the background. Ladies and gentlemen, break out the togas. It's a Caesar cipher. By plugging it into a decoder, we see that it reads, quote, host assimilated, mother colony established, preparing the reconnection. That's it's a bit concerning. The terms mother colony and assimilation make me think aliens. Are aliens somehow involved in the animal testing we're seeing here? Possibly, but there's nothing else from the previous video that comes close to expanding on the idea. I'm gonna need more information here before we can fully commit to the tinfoil hat on this one. So, for more information, let's go back through that newly opened employee portal, shall we? The employee access page gives us a glimpse of what life is like for someone who's working at Happy Meat Farms. Their employee orientation video emphasizes how important privacy is to Happy Meat Farms, and openly admits that stress and trauma are expected as a part of your everyday. To combat this, Happy Meat Farm has offered mandatory therapy, and it assures its employees that anything odd they see is all in their heads and they probably shouldn't worry about it. This couldn't possibly be gaslighting, could it? No. They're just listening in on our private conversations with our therapist in order to know which ones have seen too much and which ones to bump off. Look, there's even a list of benefits that we get for working here, including compensation in the event of our untimely demise. When your likelihood of death is expressly called out on the employee homepage, might be time to start looking for a different line of work. There's also the not so subtle mention of being part of the New World Order. See, editors, I told you working in the dungeon wasn't so bad. What we're dealing with here, my friends, is a corporate culture that's constantly monitoring its employees, knowingly exposing them to disturbing events, and offering therapy to gaslight them into silence. Basically, it's Amazon. Beyond the employee benefits and onboarding video, the portal has 2 very clear passwords that we need to find. One to access the R&D department, and the other to access human resources. Maybe then we'll finally be able to figure out what they're doing with all that chicken goo. Elsewhere on the site, there's a quick backstory for the company. Apparently, the company is based in Florida, because of course, the weirdo alien food mutation company is based in Florida, and was founded in 1998 by a woman named Ramona Bynes, who aspired to, quote, give animals the best quality of life. I think the gooey chicken in the corner might want to have a word with ya. Happy Meat Farms almost went bankrupt in 2014 until it was bailed out by a new, unnamed partner who helped them turn things around, which could explain the, shift in the company's goals. Although they still claim to use no genetic modifications or growth supplements, elsewhere on the website we learned that they lobbied to kill a bill that would require growth groceries to put a special label on anything that was genetically engineered. Seems like that'd be something that a totally organic farm would want, but what do I know? I'm just a dumb creator. Politics are above my pay grade. Speaking of creators, we see the website mention that they've started to partner with up-and-coming creators like the Cynical Critic and fellow SpongeBob theorist Alex Bale, of all people. Guys, maybe you should do a better job of vetting your brand deals in advance. Take it from me. This is the type of stuff that'll get you canceled on Twitter. On the other end of the spectrum, in one last very meta twist, you can see that the company appears to be having an ongoing dispute against the This Place Is Not Happy YouTube channel, the place where our investigation began. Happy Meat Farms claims that the videos being uploaded onto the channel are fake and doctored, but I think we know the truth. It's leaked footage from the R&D department, footage that we see spoken about in a different part of the website. So, knowing that we have ourselves some more passwords to find, let's go back to the Whistleblower YouTube channel and see what else they've uploaded recently. On November 24th, 2021, This Place Is Not Happy released its second leaked video, titled Happy Meat Farms Genome Modification Test 47, skipping tests 44, 45, and 46 I see. Which I gotta say, I don't hate. I can only see so many deformed chickens before my appetite for McNuggets is gone for good. In this video, we see the shift to human trials. At the beginning of the upload, we see employees have themselves the exciting chance to volunteer and be a part of the tests. 2 weeks vacation, a 401k, and untested growth hormones injected directly into my arm? Woohoo! Where do I sign? Only 4 of the test subjects we see are actual volunteers. The rest are classified as insubordinate employees, outsiders, and non-compliant journalists. It's great to see so many people willingly step forward and not coerced at all to help the forward march of science. Just like last time with the animals, any subjects that show significant growth are immediately sent to HR. But it's subject H0027 that ultimately stands out. She's a 47-year-old female classified as a host. Odd word choice there. There's no picture of this extremely dangerous subject because it turns out that they've escaped. Usually not something you want to have happen after you mutate them into a horrendous flesh monster. It's also worrying that this one is labeled as extremely intelligent. Despite the escape, they declare the test a success, sufficient growth has been achieved, and the video ends with the phrase, "Mother will be pleased." There it is again, mother, right after testing on an older female that was explicitly labeled as host. We know from the website video that a mother colony has been established and that a host was assimilated. Could mother actually be a single entity, with the colony aspect being something more akin to the Aliens franchise, where a single mother alien, the queen, is planted somewhere, say a 47-year-old female host, and then begins the process of reproducing to create an alien colony? Certainly seems plausible based on the evidence so far. After the tests, the video returns to the original employee video, which thanks us for participating and for being a small part of the New World Order. Then the video glitches once more, and we see something moving. Well, it's meant to be a distortion of the hands that are holding the earth. When it begins to move, it almost looks like another test subject. Big black eye on one side, pale, patchy skin. Plus, we hear a distorted voice. Don't feed them. The way the voice sounds, yeah, I can imagine that coming from one of those horrible flesh piles. But what does it mean, them? What them? And why do things keep getting sent to HR? My guess is that these experiments are being used to feed whatever mother is, and that HR doesn't actually stand for human resources. But to prove it, I'm gonna need to access one of these new login pages from the employee portal. And wouldn't you know it, this new video is the key that we need to unlock it. Doing it though is gonna be a bit of a slog. Instead of just looking for hard cuts, this time we're looking for letters that show up prior to any of the others. Normally, the letters start blurred and then become readable, but at different points, certain letters just appear without starting off blurred. Putting them all together in the order that they appear gives us the code CM042T. And with that, we head on over to the login pages. And while it doesn't work for HR, it does unlock the R&D portal. And it's on the other side of that link where Happy Meat Farm's mask begins to slip. And what that webpage reveals to us is gonna have to wait for next time. This next page has so much to talk about. Plus, there's still a final video we have to dissect. Just didn't feel right to squash it all down into one episode. So yes, there is gonna be a part 2 here in the upcoming week. So if you didn't do it earlier, smash that subscribe button so hard it turns into subscribe button goo. Subscribe button goo that we can feed to mama. And then hit the bell so hard that you don't miss part 2 when it drops. I promise, it's gonna be worth your while. Because while this story feels weird and gross right now, what's about to come next is something that no one would expect. And given that the ARG isn't totally finished yet, it's up to us to solve this thing together. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for watching. You've made it to the end of the video, which means that you clearly like spooky ARGs. Well, if that's the case, then check out the video to the left where we try to solve the twisted history of Generation Loss, a new ARG that's starting up in the near future. Or if you want ARGs plus goo, non-chicken this time, sorry, then check out the Friday Night Funkin' Bob mystery. That one is the link on the right. Happy puzzling, my friends.